Good evening. So, I'm going to try to keep this brief. Step 3. We decided to turn the care and the will, the will and the care of our lives over to God as we understood Him, or it, your higher power. To use the adages I've used before, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, don't overthink the step. As I said before, step 1, 2, and 3, in the very simple, bare bones version, is I can't, my higher power can, and I'm going to allow that. That's really what it comes down to. In my experience, having gone through many programs and whatnot, addicts have a tendency to fight themselves, really. So what does it mean to turn the care of your life and your will over to your higher power? It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It's really an act of faith. It's a step in which you take a leap of faith. You take a leap of faith that this particular program and those 12 steps are going to help you, and that you're reconnecting with your spiritual side, your divinity, your conscious contact with your higher power is going to restore you and heal you. Does that mean you're going to have an epiphany and find some divine purpose to your life? Probably not right away. You might eventually. In my experience, Source has a much more grand, profound, and expansive purpose for all of our lives than any of us can imagine. Myself and a lot of addicts I've talked to in the past always kind of struggle with this still. Well, how do you know what's God's will? Well, you're never going to know, first of all. Never truly know, anyway. But start simple. Just do the next right thing. And I mean really simple things like, and this is going to sound so silly, but it's true. Put the shopping cart back. You see a piece of trash, pick it up. Don't throw your cigarette butt out the window. Whatever it is, do the next right thing. That little act of aligning your actions with what you know is right is how you start. Allowing your life to be guided by the will of the Most High. That's a good way to start. The next part of the step is essentially discernment. Learning the difference between what is your own ego and your own will, as opposed to what may be, God's will. In my experience, if it's something that causes or gives you instant gratification, chances are, not always, but chances are, it's probably your own will and ego. Or if it's something you're anticipating to happen, whether it be a particular job or whatever, and it doesn't, and you get really irritated and irritable, chances are it was your will. One of the programs I went to, there was a guy there, and his default answer to any question you asked him was no. Didn't matter what it was. You could go up to the man and say, look, my mother just died, can I go review? No. And he did it on purpose. And the reason he did is because 99 times out of 100, said addict was spinning something to get what they wanted to happen. So he would tell them no, really just to test their willingness, and just to test, okay, how many times is this story going to change, and is this person telling me the truth? You know, he was an addict himself at one point. He knows. You give us an inch, we'll take a fucking mile. You know. In my experience, when you start to align yourself not only with what they call God's will, but with your own higher self, with your soul, that need or want for instant gratification falls away pretty quickly. Not only that, you'll find that the things that you're attracted to accomplishing change. It's no longer about what do I get out of this, how is this going to benefit me. You'll find yourself doing things that, for all practical purposes, serve no benefit to you, other than the act of kindness or generosity or love. So start simple. Just do the next right thing. You know, I'll probably do a separate video on the third step prayer, which can be a very powerful prayer. The short version of it is, "Thy will be done, not mine." There's a little catch to that, though. Just like we say when we say in the Serenity Prayer, "Grant me the serenity." Okay, well, grant me the willingness to allow Thy will be done, not mine. I personally find it much more effective that way. So that's the short version of step 3. I'll do a more detailed version once you get past 1 and 2, which is, pretty much the act of surrender. Like I said, the bulk of step 3 is really just an act of faith. If you're in a program, like I said, start simple, do the next right thing. Allow somebody else to make decisions for you for a little while. If you struggle with trying to figure out what the Most High's will is for you, allow the people in that program to start making some decisions for you. Allow them to establish the routine for you, because that in itself is God's will. You ended up in that place for a reason. Let it change you, let it transform you. And that's really what it comes down to in step 3. Let it happen. Stop fighting. Throw the towel in. Just because you made some bad choices doesn't make you a bad person.